So, did OnlyFans basically buy ad space in Hollywood? Because lately it feels like every other show has OnlyFans right at the center of the story. In the new season of Euphoria, Cassie starts building an OnlyFans account. In Margo's Got Money Troubles, a young mother turns to the platform to support her child. And at some point, I caught myself thinking, wait a second, when exactly did OnlyFans become such a normal part of our cultural vocabulary? If the platform were actually paying screenwriters for promotion, its slogan would probably be something like, "Need money? Try OnlyFans." But what's really interesting is that today this story is framed very differently than it was 10 or 20 years ago. More and more often, working on OnlyFans isn't portrayed as a moral downfall. It's presented as entrepreneurship, a digital business, or simply a way to monetize an audience. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Hi everyone, my name is Sasha, I'm a Slavic girl, and on this channel we look at pop culture a little deeper than just the headlines. If you enjoy celebrity stories with a Slavic girl perspective, stick around. Because this episode isn't really about morality, it's about how pop culture changes the way we think about the exact same things. If you look back at 19th century literature, there was a very popular character archetype, the fallen woman. A woman who ended up outside society's accepted norms almost always faced a tragic ending. The most famous example is Fantine from Les Miserables. To provide for her daughter, she sells her hair, then her teeth, and eventually her body. And even though the author treats her with tremendous sympathy, the story still ends in tragedy because the culture of that era simply couldn't imagine a woman like her surviving and moving on with her life. But slowly things begin to change. In the 20th century, movies like Pretty Woman appear. A sex worker is no longer necessarily a tragic figure. She can be charming, funny, charismatic, although her happy ending still largely depends on a man coming along to save her. Then the internet arrives. First blogs, then webcam platforms, then social media. And for the first time, women can tell their own stories directly without gatekeepers. And that's where the road to OnlyFans really begins. When the platform launches in 2016, it feels like the perfect continuation of the influencer era. The logic is simple. If people are already sharing their lives for free on Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms, why not add a paywall? And that's where a major cultural shift happens, because in reality, OnlyFans isn't selling sex, it's selling attention. Or more specifically, the illusion of intimacy, the feeling that a subscriber has special access to another person. That's why the OnlyFans model starts to resemble not just the adult industry, but also the work of influencers, streamers, marketers, and personal brand entrepreneurs, all at once. And that's exactly why the platform became part of mainstream culture so quickly, especially after celebrities started joining in 2020. Beyoncé mentions OnlyFans in Savage Remix.
Hips tick-tock when I dance. On that demon time, she might start her OnlyFans.
After the song's release, the platform sees a huge influx of new users. Then comes Bella Thorne. The former Disney star launches an account and reportedly earns around $1 million in her first 24 hours. The internet absolutely loses its mind. Some people are impressed. Others accuse her of using the platform as a marketing stunt. But the important thing had already happened. OnlyFans stopped being a niche website and became part of pop culture. Later, British singer Lily Allen launches an account where she posts photos of her feet for people with a foot fetish. And when critics come after her, she responds with a really interesting point. She says, imagine having millions of listeners on Spotify, but making more money from pictures of your feet than from your music. And honestly, I think that explains a lot. Because the attention economy works in some very strange ways. And that brings us back to these TV shows. Why do Euphoria and Margo's Got Money Troubles tell such similar stories? Why do both heroines end up connected to OnlyFans? Personally, I don't think it's advertising. I think writers are trying to explore the same questions society is asking right now. What do you do when money is tight? What happens when attention becomes a currency? Where's the line between your private life and your income? The visual choices in these shows are especially interesting. At some point, both Cassie and Margo literally become giant women. People online even started joking that the writers must have been given the same assignment. But if you look closer, it's not just a coincidence. For years, the internet has had a huge niche of content built around fantasies involving giant women. That type of content is genuinely popular on some platforms, including OnlyFans. So these scenes work on multiple levels. On one level, they are references to internet culture. On another, they are metaphors for power. The attention of millions makes the character feel enormous, important, almost unstoppable. But at the same time, the scenes feel slightly unsettling, because power often comes with dependence on other people's attention. And that's where the most interesting observation lies. Once upon a time, culture told stories about the fallen woman. Today, culture tells stories about women who turn attention into money. But the questions remain surprisingly similar. Where does freedom begin and end? Who actually benefits? And what is the true cost of independence? That's why I find it hard to believe that OnlyFans showing up in modern TV shows is just product placement. It's more likely a sign of how powerful a cultural symbol the platform itself has become. Today, all you have to say is, she started an OnlyFans. And the audience instantly understands a whole package of meanings: money, risk, sexuality, entrepreneurship, shame, freedom, loneliness. That's why writers keep coming back to this topic again and again. Because the story of OnlyFans isn't really just about sex, it's about the attention economy, it's about the internet, it's about money, and it's about a world where, little by little, the individual becomes the product. Thanks for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.